What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is Carter Scotland Allen here, and today we have another edition of What I Watched. This time it is April 2022 edition. I've got Letterboxd pulled up right up on my phone. Let's not waste any more time and get right into what I watched April of 2022. Okay, so first up, the very first thing that I watched this month was Jackass Forever. Started off the month with, just fun, lighthearted film, and I have to say this, it was a Jackass film. I don't need to watch it again. It wasn't as good as the other Jackass films, I will say that. It is my least favorite of the four films. They don't really do many different things. They did kind of show a lot in the trailers, which is surprising for a film like Jackass, but yeah, it was a fun watch. Don't need to see it again. Next up, I watched Scream again, and I love this film. This is the new film, Scream 5, Scream 2022. This film is fantastic. I thought it was a great, update to the franchise, a great kind of fresh start and reintroduction to people that maybe aren't as into horror as they would have been before this film, and I had a great time with Scream. Then we watched Netflix's The Bubble, and this film was fun. Overall, it was fun. It wasn't anything that I wouldn't go back and rewatch it. It was just one of those movies to get your mind off of things, even though it does, it revolves around the pandemic. Even with a subject matter like that, the film does a good job at making it feel lighthearted and not making you think too much about the real world. Okay, and next up we have a shark horror film which is called Great White. This film I will definitely be doing a review on. I will be reviewing every single shark horror film, every single shark film ever made. That's at least a narrative shark film. Every shark film ever made I will be reviewing at some point on this channel, so there will be a review for this film coming shortly. But this film was fun, and that's kind of what I've said about all of the previous films for the month of April. It was fun. It did actually have a few genuine scares. The CGI wasn't the best, but stay tuned for my full review and I'll go into much more detail. Next up, I finished, I guess I didn't. I got like 30 minutes away from finishing Squid Game finally, so I actually think I'm going to go finish that right after I film this, but I've been enjoying it. It's just one of those shows that took me a while to kind of get into, as well as just I didn't really care about all the hype. I just wanted to enjoy it if it was good, and if it wasn't my thing, I just didn't want to be super let down because of all the hype. So that's why I waited so long, but I have had a really fun time watching it. Next up, I watched Little Evil, and this is starring Adam Scott, I believe is his name, and he's from Step Brothers and Parks and Rec. This is a very different role that I expected for him. He still gives a performance somewhat like other roles of his, but it's in a world and in a genre that totally throws everything out of whack. So the comedy aspect of this was really well done. Most comedy horrors I am not a fan of. Some people love Tucker and Dale versus Evil and things like that, and it's just not for me. But Little Evil was really well done. I actually would recommend this to people. If you're at home and you're just looking for something to watch, throw this on. It's a fun watch. And then after that, we actually watched Project X. So Daviana, my girlfriend, she had never seen this film before. She didn't know that it was very loosely based off of a teen in Australia. So we threw this on. This is again one of those nights where we were just got done with work and just wanted to chill. And this film, every time that I watch this film, I have a really fun time because there's nothing too crude about it. It's not disgusting. Well, it still does have dumb humor, some over-the-top humor. I mean, yeah, it is. The whole movie's over-the-top, but it's just one wild, fun fucking ride. Then I watched Runaway Train from 1985. I'm actually doing a best action films of all time, or the best classic action films ranking video. That'll be coming here in a couple months. And so I've just been watching some classic action films. Runaway Train, I get why they classify it as an action film, but for an action film, there is very little action. Most of it happens at the very beginning of the film, and then the rest of the film is mainly a drama with really just a lot of conversation about how to slow this train down, which, yeah, it does have a somewhat actiony climax, but overall, this film really does feel like a drama as for today's standards. I didn't hate the film. I would rewatch it again because I do feel like there's some things that I either overlooked or I was just not in the right mindset to watch this film. I was tired, so it did feel like it drug on a little bit, but overall, I did have a fun time. After that, I watched The Breaker-Uppers, and this film was fantastic. This is a comedy film. I believe this was either shot in New Zealand or Australia. I can't quite remember. But basically the premise is you have these two women that go to your door, wherever, and they break up with you for somebody. It is totally cruel and mean, but they do it in such a funny and lighthearted way, while also tackling, not like woke topics, not super dramatic themes, but they still tackle just like dating in a way that's fun, and overall it does feel pretty, not necessarily new, but it feels like something that you haven't. It's a story that you haven't seen before, but it plays out in a way that you have, and so visually it's fun. The characters are fun. I had a great time. I would rewatch this film again probably in a couple years. Wow, so this month is just looking to be a month of easygoing films because the next film up on this list is the Lizzie McGuire movie. This is from 2003. I was 5 years old when this was released. My sisters loved this film, so I grew up watching it. My girlfriend grew up watching it, so we, again, on a night where we were just tired from work, we both sat down and we had a great time watching the Lizzie McGuire movie. There's, Gordo, there's the tour guide, the hotel concierge, Paolo. Like, it is genuinely a kids' family movie that I love. I would say, as far as live action family kids films go, this might be up there in the top 10, top 15 family kids movies. Next up, I watched Ghost Town, which it was a very interesting premise. It stars Ricky Gervais as well as Greg Kinnear. Greg Kinnear dies, so does Greg Kinnear dies, and then Ricky Gervais ends up finding Greg Kinnear's wife and basically pursuing her while connecting through to her dead husband. It's got a great premise. It's got really cool ideas. I just feel it might have been something that worked better as a short, maybe a 40-minute short, 30-minute short. Not something super, not a real like 10-minute short. It does have enough plot and substance to go somewhere, but it does feel a little bit drawn out towards the end of this film, and that's why when I was going through this list and I saw Ghost Town, I literally had to go through and read the synopsis because I had forgotten all about this film. So, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad film. I just think it is genuinely a very forgettable film. This was directed by David Koepp, and he has directed Mordecai, You Should Have Left, Stir of Echoes, Secret Window, and Premium Rush. So I haven't actually seen any of his films, and overall on Letterboxd, his films overall have a 12% rating. I don't think that's pretty good. Yeah, you guys let me know what you thought of this film. I didn't really like it, didn't dislike it in many ways. It was just one of those films that will go right over my head. I will forget it. I will probably never think about this film after this video. After that, my dad and I watched Coming Home in the Dark. This film was fucking dark. And I don't mean like it was shot, dark, the cinematography, the lighting, the exposure wasn't done well. I mean, substance-wise, this movie is dark. I really don't want to spoil it because this film does something that most films don't do. And again, I don't necessarily think the ending plays out in the most fantastic way. It's not necessarily the way you would want things to go, but it's the way that you would expect things to go, and it does make sense for the story. However, I just think the first half of this film is so well done that by the time that things are starting to wind down, you're like, oh, I'm just still blown away by that first half, and I really did enjoy this film. I will be rewatching this. I want to get Daviana to watch this. She's not into, super, super serious stuff. She's got to be in the right right mindset. And this is definitely one of those films. But I think if you're into dramas, if you're into thrillers, check this damn film out. Coming Home in the Dark is a really, really good time. And I want to say it's on Netflix, so go check it out. And now that the AC finally stopped kicking on, you guys can probably hear me better. Next up, I watched Bringing Down the House, and I actually did the tiniest little review. I said, barely made it 40 minutes. This movie is awful. And I know 40 minutes is a long-ass time to sit through a movie before you realize that it's shit. But I was just hoping that it was going to get better, hoping that the jokes were going to start to turn, and it just did not. This came out in 2003. It is so dated. The comedy is racist, sexist. It is not a good Steve Martin movie. It's not a good Queen Latifah movie. It's not a good film in general. There's a reason people don't talk about this film. I hadn't heard of this film until I saw it on whatever platform it was streaming on. Do not go out and watch this film. Just avoid it. Just avoid it. I think I actually would like to do a Steve Martin film ranking, and I'm just going to assume that this will be at the bottom of that list one day. After that, I watched the Slumber Party Massacre. This is the original Slumber Party Massacre from 1982, and I have to say this was just, a B horror film, lots of boobs, actually very little blood. I was kind of surprised. The weapon was cool, a giant drill. I think I like this film more than most people would, due to the fact that I did watch the remake or the reboot a couple days later. So I had this fresh in my mind, which I will say right now that the newer film made me appreciate the older film a little bit more. After that, I watched Doctor Strange from 2016, and my review for that film is up right now, so go check that out if you want to see my thoughts on Doctor Strange before the release of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But overall, Doctor Strange, it's a fun time. I don't need to see it again for a very long while. Go check out my full review to see my full thoughts. After that, we went for another feel-good movie, and this was The Parent Trap. No, this was not the original. This is the one with Lindsay Lohan. And this film is fantastic as well. This is actually probably it's not arguably. This is Lindsay Lohan's best performance ever, period. She really does a great job. Is it Dennis Quaid? Yeah, he does a great job. Everybody in this film is fantastic. I've always loved the not the butler, but the caretaker for Dennis Quaid, and hit that side of the family in The Parent Trap. But you have the whole raft sequence, the peanut butter and the Oreos in the detention, the Isolation Bunk, and it's just another fun family kids movie that, again, this would also probably be on my top 10, top 15 live action family friendly films, which I know that is kind of a niche genre, but hey, it's a great film. And I just mentioned it earlier, I watched the reboot of the Slumber Party Massacre. So here it is just titled Slumber Party Massacre. This was released last year in 2021. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this film. I almost liked it more than the original. I think I like them actually probably just about equally. I really did enjoy this film though, because it throws not necessarily shade, but it makes jokes about all of the negative, all of the complaints about the original. It takes that and flips them. So there's tons of boobs and there's girls having pillow fights in the original, and then in this one you have the opposite of that, and there's literally guys having pillow fights, and it's just jacked guys, and then there's like a shot of a guy showering and you see his butt. So it's totally just the opposite, and it does actually go on for quite a long while. I was like, okay, it's a little burnt out, but I do appreciate that they did the opposite and didn't just go back and do a bunch more boobs, because then it really would have just been another B horror movie, whereas it's now I do think it is a fun take on a classic B horror movie. Also, I will say, the way that they did continue the story from the first one, I thought was fantastic. I'm not a Slumber Party Massacre fanatic. I haven't seen the second, third, and fourth. I believe there are 3 other original films before the reboot, but I have to say, as far as the original and the reboot go, I really enjoyed them. Next up, another fun movie. I watched Moana for like the billionth time. This is one of my favorite Disney princess films. Probably my favorite Pixar film, probably in the past 10 years, I would say. Either that or, I don't know when Ratatouille was released, but Ratatouille's up. Ratatouille is like my favorite. And then Moana, as far as Disney princesses go, she's really up there, and I just like the story. It's beautiful, visually beautiful, and the music's fun. Next up, I watched Shark, and this is a short film. It's a series of short films. There is Spider, there's Bear, and then there's Shark. I'm not going to say anything about these. I'm really not. They're short films, so you guys can go to YouTube and look them up right now. They are free. If you're watching this video, then you can watch Bear, Spider, Shark, Spider, Bear, Shark. But watch it in that order. Spider, Bear, Shark. I thought this was fantastic. The visuals were fantastic. The cast was surprising, yet also fantastic. So go check that out. Next up, I watched Choose or Die, and I want to say this was the Netflix original film. This is basically, two people, they find a video game, they play it, and it gives you an option, his arm or her tongue or whatever, and you have to pick, and it's going to cut off his arm or her tongue, and if you don't pick, you die. Very simple premise. It was a cool idea with okay execution. There were very few deaths in this film, and the ones that they do show aren't very cool. They're not very crazy. I will say there's a diner sequence, which was probably the most tense I was in the entire film, and then the opening scene is pretty good overall as well. I don't think I would recommend this film to others, though, just because at the end it really didn't have much payoff and was very forgettable. I will say, though, if you've seen it, the VHS tape mouth scene, that was cool. Okay, and then once again, I watched X. This film, I can go on and on about, but I'm not going to. Go check out my full review. I might even review it again later this year when it comes out on, 4K Blu-ray. I love this film. It's my favorite film of the year so far. Every single one of, my top 3 favorite films this year all have Jenna Ortega. So, yeah, I can go on and on. This movie's fantastic. The cast is fantastic. Story's fantastic. Go check this movie out. If you're a horror fan in any way, you should like this film. You should. After that, I started to watch The Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. I know there's honestly a very big fan base that, kind of cult following that likes this film. I did make it the first hour into the film. I did get bored. The costumes were fine. The creature designs were really cool. The world building was fine. It's just, the comedy was outdated. This did come out in the year, 2005. I was 7 years old, and I did leave the theater when I saw this. I don't remember how long I made it. I just remember my mom and my friend, and my friend's mom thought it was really dumb, so we all just kind of left. Don't need to see this film again. Sorry if you like it. After that, I tried to watch Austin Land, and we did not make it very far in this. There's a few genuinely funny jokes. The setup, honestly, is kind of a cool idea. I just think it's something that really just works as a skit, a short. It could work as a skit almost on SNL, where it'd be more slapstick instead of this, because this rides the line of taking itself seriously as well as being a full-blown comedy, and I do think being a full-blown weird, wacky comedy would have suited this film better. After that, I watched Sex Drive. I had never seen Sex Drive before. Cody Leach was actually the one who got me to watch this film. I watched his best comedy films of all time ranking video, and he talked about how much fun he had with this film. I can't remember the actor, but the douchey older brother in this film who's looking after his nice car, he's fantastic. It's the guy from Sonic. I can't think of his name, but it was really, really fun. It does have some dated jokes like you would expect for 2008. It's very much, the hangover humor, very much humor of the time, so it works. Don't think I would watch it again, maybe ever. If I do watch it again, it'll be a very long while from now. Okay, and so we have 4 more things left for the month of April. Here we have Half-Baked. Yes, we did watch this on April 20th, 420. This is Half Baked. Dave Chappelle. This is a stoner film. Yes, I did partake just a little bit on 420, just nighttime. I just took a little bit and enjoyed this film. I have to say, even if you're not into marijuana, this film's fucking hilarious. Again, it does help if you know some terms that relate to marijuana, or if you've just even experienced it once, you would probably enjoy this film more. But overall, Dave Chappelle is just fucking hilarious, and his roommates, his friends in that, I don't know the guy's name, but the white actor with the crazy blonde hair, all shaggy, he was hilarious. I definitely see myself rewatching this film again, and probably within the next year. Okay, and then next up here we have it's my favorite comedy of the year, and that's because, I haven't seen very many comedies this year, but that is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Nick Cage, starring Nick Cage. It's, him being himself. You got Pedro Pascal, Tiffany Haddish. This film was a blast. I was crying in theaters. There was like 3 parts where I was crying from laughing so hard. There were people above us that were just dying laughing. I loved this film. I would go see it again in theaters. It was one of the most fun experiences that I've ever had in theaters. And there was literally like 4 other people in the theater. You don't go to a theater, have it be empty, and expect to come out of that having it be one of your best theater experiences of all time, period. This, if this were a packed house, it would have been probably the top 2-3 movie theater experiences ever for me. But yeah, I could go on. I do have a full review coming out later this week. It'll be on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that review of Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. But again, this movie's fucking fantastic. It was a blast. If you're a fan of Nick Cage in any way, go rewatch, honestly, most of his films. It's just worth it just to do that, just so you can get all of the absorption of all of the Easter eggs towards Nick Cage. It's a fantastic film. Go check it out. Next up, I watched 2014's Slut. Yes, Slut. This is written and directed by Chloe Okuno. Killjoy Jake got me into her. I'm very excited for her future work. Slut is fantastic. It is a wacky idea, and even if you don't necessarily like the way that the story plays out, you still can't deny that there are just seeds for everything. Everything that happens in this short film, this 20-minute short film, has a reason. They show you everything, everything ties together so well. They give you these little breadcrumbs, these little jigsaw pieces, and you just have to piece them together. And then by the time that the climax happens, you're like, oh my gosh, that's why they showed this in the beginning. That's why they showed this here. It is a fucking phenomenal short film. Go to YouTube, go watch it if you haven't seen it. And lastly, for the month of April, I watched Shark Night 3D. This was released in 2011, and this film is just fun. It's just pure fun. It is obviously it's a shark film. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I am going to be reviewing every single shark film on this channel. This will be one of them. I have a review coming very soon. On Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, May 3rd, I want to say, we have the first live stream on the channel with Killjoy Jake, where we will be talking about this film. I had a very fun time just watching this film. I'd seen it when I was 13 years old, and it spooked me out then. That got a few jumps in me now. I will say just right away in this short review that the CGI was a little bit shoddy, but overall this was a really fun watch, and I'm very excited to talk about it with Killjoy Jake on Tuesday. That's all I watched, though, for April of 2022. Thank you guys, everybody, so much for watching. Again, I've got so many videos coming out this week, later this month. Stay tuned. I've got, what I watched May coming next month. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Carter Scotland Allen. Stay tuned for all my videos, my Moon Knight, Marvel shows ranked, whatever it may be, Star Wars ranked, Stranger Things. Got a bunch of stuff coming. Stay tuned. I'm Carter Scotland Allen. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.